Welcome to Market Like It's Hot, the podcast where strategy sizzles and marketing nonsense goes to die. I'm Yasmin Robles, and with me, as always, is Izzy Dudosky. We are from the Rebel marketing team. And today we are talking about something most businesses swear they're good at, but rarely are. Customer experience. Because here's the truth, you can have great marketing, a beautiful brand, and all the visibility in the world. But if the experience falls flat, none of it actually sticks. Today, we're joined by La'Zendra Danforth, owner of Studio D Meetings and Events and Konfetti Carts. She's built her business around creating unforgettable experiences, from high-level event strategy to luxury ice cream moments that people actually want to remember. La'Zendra, welcome to the show. Tell us a little bit more about your business.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much, Yasmin, for having me. Good to see you, Izzy. Glad to be on the podcast with you all. Studio D is a destination meeting planning firm. And so we take our clients wherever they want to go. Essentially, that's what that is. So we plan a lot of conferences and meetings specifically all across the U.S. And so we handle all the details from start to finish with registration and the hotels and restaurants, all the cool things that they get to do when they're in these prospective cities. And then Konfetti Carts is for Columbus. We started that 2 years ago here in the city of Columbus. And Konfetti Carts is a luxury ice cream catering company. And so we say that we bring the ice cream to you. It's an elevated ice cream experience. And we do social events and weddings and parties, those sorts of things, but also have the opportunity to work a lot with corporate groups and businesses for client or employee appreciation events or grand openings, product launches, all those sorts of things. So we like to have the ability to create this ice cream experience or activation, as we sometimes like to call it.
Yeah, and so you run those two businesses centered around experiences. What
Yes.
pulled you into hospitality and event work in the first place? Because that feels like a hard space to be in.
Yes, it is. It's a hard place to a hard industry, but also very rewarding. I have been in the event industry for over 20 years. I started my career on the wedding side, and we were in Asheville, North Carolina, and had the opportunity to do lots of weddings and all sorts of weddings from, the small 20-person weddings to large Indian weddings. And so to be a part of those types of cultures and knowing how people celebrate love with their families and all those things were very, very rewarding. And then I shifted into the corporate space, which is a little bit more transactional, but still you get to meet all these wonderful people, and that a lot of times they're having these events to push a agenda, whether it's an educational program or a fundraising opportunity or some sort of product launch, right? They always have some tangible meaning or purpose for their events. And so I got into events, although it's very challenging, as I stated, it's a rewarding opportunity for us to be a part of something very special and to be behind the scenes and knowing that the logistics that you created or the experience that you created really elevated the experience that those people were having for either a social event or corporate.
So, what did you notice early on that made you realize that customer experience is everything?
It really is. A lot of times, as planners, from an event standpoint, you always start with how pretty it is, right? Or what's the location or what they're going to eat and those sorts of things. And all those things are fun. The main goal is to think about the full experience of the client. And so, one of the things when I'm speaking at conferences or mentoring other professionals in the industry, I always say start with the end first. What is the purpose of this event? How does the client want their guests to feel? If it's a fundraising opportunity? Is this something that's philanthropic that needs to pull on the heartstrings of the attendees? So having those sorts of things in mind when you're planning an event, when you start with the end goal of what do they need to feel when they walk out of the room, that helps you plan the event from the beginning, because then you know what venue you need to have, the flow, the food, the program, all those sorts of things that go into planning an event. You always start with the end first. And so in doing that, that's something that I share as for any business, is thinking about how the client feels.
Your talk is called Deliver the Honey, Honey. What does that actually mean
Yes.
in practice?
So it's a cute name that I gave it just to draw my audience in, but it really is that. And so I'll take two different sides from that. One, a lot of times in customer service, you have a front facing part of customer service and a back facing part of customer service. And so on the front end side, there's a lot of times that the clients are not nice. They have their own things going on. There's an old saying that the customer is always right. They're not, right? Sometimes they're wrong. And so when I say deliver the honey, that you have to rise above that, right? Because they're your client, and then you figure out how to deliver the honey, right? Like, how do you bring on the charm? You're being extremely nice about it. But customer service is not just about being nice, right? Now we're talking about the back end of customer service, is that it's not just about being nice. It's about delivering and being consistent on what you say you were going to deliver. And so that's either from the customer or for the vendor, because sometimes customer service is also B2B, right? And so if I'm an event planner and I'm working with a florist, we have to have good customer service with each other, right? And so I have to trust that my vendor is going to deliver what she or he said that they were going to deliver, because I've already told my client that these florals are going to look like this and they're going to be there at this time. So I have to have a good relationship, not even a good one. Let me go back. You have to have a great relationship with your vendors. And so that's a form of back office customer service, that you're working with great vendors so that you can produce great things to the client that you have already said that you were going to deliver. Because me, the planner, has to be consistent. And we're using, I'm taking it from an event planning perspective, but that works for all industries, right? If you are in marketing, or if you're a caterer, or if you're a physician, right? Like, you're counting on the vendors that you use to help you deliver a great product to your client. And so we take a fun approach to discussing customer service and ways to do that and do that well. And so hence the name of Deliver the Honey, Honey.
You just said good, not great, or great, not good relationships that you're trying to build with
Yes.
these people.
Yes.
Where do you see businesses thinking that they have great customer service, but are actually missing the mark?
Oh, yes, definitely. Sometimes, as I alluded to earlier, sometimes as businesses, you think that delivering good customer service is just being nice to people. And that's not it at all. Yes, that's a piece of the pie. You do need to be kind, right? Like, they're not going to work with you if you're not. However, sometimes we miss the mark because you're late, your response time is not good. It's, you said that you're going to be there and we're not. You said I was going to deliver the invoice by Monday and it's Friday and they're just getting it. It's those sorts of things that, as business owners, that customers are watching to say, well, if they can't do this, then are they going to be able to deliver what they say they were going to? And so you have to be do what you say that you were going to do. And your product or your service, right, has to align with what you're marketing, right? Because sometimes we market that we can do all these big and grand and wonderful things, but you don't have the infrastructure in place to actually deliver those things, right? And so we work really hard to, as business owners or people that I'm coaching, or when I'm doing these speaking engagements, just to kind of start thinking about those gaps that we as business owners may have, and how do we hone those in so that we really are delivering great service to our clients, because we want them to not just be a one-time client. We want them to be repeat client and share our business with others. And they won't do that if they don't trust you.
Mm-hmm. You already gave a few examples of this, but if you were to pick one, what's one detail that separates a good experience from an unforgettable one?
I will say one thing so here's something that I say often. And when I'm doing speaking engagements or when I'm coaching or just having one-on-one with business owners or planners, you hear me say this all the time, is that your clients, they may not remember every single detail about the event, but they will remember how you made them feel. And so from that perspective, regardless of what industry you're in, your clients will remember how you made them feel. If you're a service business and they're angry or they're frustrated, or your clients feel anxious, right, because they're not getting from you what they thought they were going to get, they're going to remember that. And so they're not going to refer you to other clients and, spread the word from you, which is word of mouth is the first form and best form of marketing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the other side of that is from an event perspective. When I'm planning my event, so that when we're doing confetti carts, I'm training my team to remember that. They're going to remember how you made them feel, right? Like when people come up to our ice cream carts, our attendants are smiling. Our carts are well presented to the attendees so that when they walk up, they're already excited that they're going to get something really good. Well, then the ice cream is good, right? You're being served with a smile. The person is very knowledgeable about the ice cream that we're serving. So if a guest walks up, for example, and say, hey, do you have anything that's dairy free? Because I'm lactose. Well, to have an attendant that's saying, oh, yes, absolutely, we have something for you. We have our delicious raspberry sorbet. Well, now that person's like, oh, man, the event owners and this business thought of me,
Mm-hmm.
right? They considered the fact that I was lactose or whatever reason why I couldn't have dairy. And now they're not walking away from the cart disappointed because there wasn't anything for them. You anticipated the need, right? And so that's a huge part of customer service is anticipating the need. When we talk with our clients, we always suggest, it's not mandatory, but consider a non-dairy option for your event when we're thinking about confetti carts. And that makes all the difference when that one person who may not have even said that they were dairy free, but they're like, man, they thought of me.
Yeah, Izzy had a short stint where she was, what were you, Izzy? Vegetarian?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was, I had never realized how few options there were, or it's the same exact
Yes.
option at every single event. So yeah, anticipating. Okay.
Yes. Anticipating the need. And so I'll just to allude on that just a little bit. I had a client that recently called and she was planning her son's 5th birthday party, and her daughter cannot have eggs. And she said, I've looked everywhere. And do you happen to have ice cream without any eggs? Absolutely, we do. And it's because in planning our menu, in planning, what we were going to present to the customer, I anticipated what needs will our clients potentially have that's within our control, of course, right? Like there's not ice cream for everybody, but we do try to accommodate that as much as we can. So we thought about, how do we make delicious ice cream that's egg free, right? That's gluten free, that's dairy free, but still have that wonderful, delicious taste that everyone loves and enjoys.
This is how I found out that eggs or ice cream has eggs in it. I had no idea.
Some of them do.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, noted.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Well, one of my questions was, do you believe customer service is actually a form of marketing? But I think you answered that with a yes in certain branches.
Absolutely it is.
Yeah. So, and it comes into play, customer service comes into play a lot in retention. I was just having a conversation where I mentioned retention. You don't want to constantly be relying on marketing to get new people. You also want to focus in on the people you currently have.
Yes.
So what happens though when a brand markets one thing and then delivers something completely different? I think you touched on it a little bit, but let's dissect that a little more.
Yeah, absolutely. It creates a level of mistrust, right? And so if you're thinking, I'm just going to throw industry out there, right? It's like if you need someone to come and fix your garage on your house, and you found this company, you go on the website, you've done your due diligence, as you go on there, and the website says that they can do all of these things. And it says that the consultation is free, right? And then when they get there, the consultation, and the gentleman or the young lady looks at your garage, and they're like, oh, well, we were here for 15 minutes. Our service fee is now this, right? And so, well, on your website, it said the consultation was free, where I did consult, but I had to touch the garage. So that's the service fee, right? And so it's like you have these hidden things in there where you're not really being honest, right? And so now your customer, the customer, now have distrust in the company, because that's not what your website said. That's not what you were marketing, right? I came and picked you because of these reasons, and then when you arrived, your service did not align with that. And so as business owners, we have to be very careful with what we're putting on our website, how we're marketing our brochures, even when we're having a conversation with someone about what we do, and then we're not able to deliver on that, right? And then it creates this trust. So now, me as a client, I'm not going to tell Yasmin, hey, when you need someone to fix your garage, you should call this person. Like, no, honey, let's look for someone else from you, because this company was not able to deliver. And word of mouth can destroy your business, right? Because we can talk as a people, right? And now you have social media where they have do all these Google reviews and all those sorts of things. And so you want to make sure that you are delivering on the things that you say you deliver, especially as small businesses. Like Columbus is and this for any city really. Like this, it may be a large city, but it's a small town when it comes to a small business, right? When it comes to businesses, you want to make sure that you're delivering what you say.
Yeah, completely agree. So, okay, let's focus in on service-based businesses. What would you say, and maybe the audience or whoever's listening can guess the answer, but what would you say is most important? Getting that client or focusing in on that retention piece and that customer service piece?
I would say the most important is focusing on the retention, because you can get a lot of inquiries, right? But again, if your systems are not in place, and this is, let me be very specific about this. When you're thinking about the retention piece, it's thinking of the whole process. So from start to finish, when your clients fill out the inquiry form, what's the communication with them? Do they get it in email? Are you making it easy for them to go through the process? Is the payment process easy and clear? And when they end, are they getting a thank you note at the end? If it's a personalized one or automated email, how are you retaining the client? But that all comes from the entire process. So you need to have your back office systems in order, so that you know that once the client comes in, you've made their full experience an easy one, right? Because right now in the world that we live in, the attention span of people is so very short. It's like you really do have to make sure that the process is easy, or they moved on to something else. And it's hard to retain people if you don't make the process easy. I'm happy to return to a client, to a customer. I'm happy to return to a business, excuse me, if I know I can be in and out, right? If it's something that even takes, if it's a multiple steps, it's easy for me to do it. And so you want to make sure that your back office processes are important, because when those inquiries are coming in, if you can't service them well, right, then they're not going to stay, or you will lose them and they won't even buy, right? They will just say, oh, I'll need to move on to something else, because before you even make the deposit, that process wasn't smooth.
What are the most common communication mistakes you see between businesses and clients?
So I would say one of the common mistakes that I often see is a lack of response. So we get emails nonstop. I know you all as business owners, um, you're getting things from these events are happening. This network event is happening. Don't forget to do this. Don't forget to do that. Your inbox is influx with all this information that you're getting. And so, unless you have a good operating system for where your clients are, like a client portal, a CRM system, how you're communicating with them, it's very easy for your clients' emails to get lost in the fluff. And so, if you're busy doing all the things running a business, but your response time is not good, right? Your client really is not, this may be a little blunt, but they really don't care that you have other stuff to do.
Mhm.
Right? Like they're thinking their priority is their things, right? And so I find this a lot from the event industry is that my clients don't care that I have X number other events to plan. Their focus is only on their event. And so I have to make sure that they feel like they're my number one client, that they're my only client, right? And so being able to have good response time, and that goes back to systems. What systems do you have in place so that you're able to give them an immediate response, even if sometimes it's automated? As
Mhm.
long as they know that you've received their information and they've gotten some kind of response. And sometimes if it's automated, it may be an automated email once that inquiry comes in to say, thank you for responding. Please click here to schedule a call. So now they feel like the process is moving, right? Or it may be an automated message that says, thank you for this email. Someone from our team will be back to you within 24 to 48 hours. That gives them a timeline to expect that they may not hear from you for 48 hours, but they at least heard from you, right? And so it's putting those processes into place so that your clients are getting that response from you immediately, even though you may be out of the office for 2 or 3 days doing other things to make your business move. You need to make sure that your business is still moving by responding to the clients that you have.
Yeah. And then with some of those clients who only think you should focus on them, how can you turn a difficult client situation into a win?
So that's very easy. Ownership.
Mhm.
Ownership, right? It's we discussed a little bit earlier, that the client, some always say that old saying that the client's always right. No, they're not. They may be wrong, right? But regardless if you think that they're wrong, you as the business owner need to take ownership.
Mhm.
And so what that means is you hear them. So here's an example. You say, um, thank you for sharing that information. How can I help? Or thank you for letting me know that this happened. This is what we can do for you, right? Let them know that you heard them and you have a solution because you're the professional, right? They hired you because you're the expert in that field. And so whether they're wrong or right, you want their money.
Mhm.
You want them to be your client, right? And so you take ownership and let them know that you heard them. And you don't always have to explain and, be defensive and clear things up. They don't want to hear it, right? They've already made up in their minds that for whatever the situation is. So you really do just take that and say it's a part of doing business, right? It's like, how do I save and rectify this relationship so that this person speaks highly of me? And the amount of clients that will go above and beyond because they say, man, we really I didn't really like that, but she had a solution, right?
Mhm.
She told me how we were going to fix this. She told me how we were going to rectify this. She gave me a $50 discount off of the service. So that goes back to how you made them feel. You made them feel heard. You
Mhm.
made them feel seen, and you were able to fix the problem. And so, as business owners, it comes with the territory. Those are the types of things that you have to do.
So, pivoting into some practical takeaways for our listeners. If they wanted to improve their customer experience this week, what would be the first thing that they should fix or look at?
I will look at your systems. Put yourself in the client's shoes, right? And so I always um, my businesses and specifically for confetti carts because um, Konfetti Carts is an ice cream catering company here in Columbus where we have 4 seasons, right? This winter was really challenging where you wake up and now you have 13 inches of snow outside, right?
Mhm.
And so it's like I really had to look at put myself in the customer shoes and say, how do I service this city with this business? So regardless of the business that you're in, look at it from put yourself in the customer shoes. How would you like to be serviced if you had that if you had a need for that type of business, right? And so if you're looking at that, um, and here's a key thing that I do want to say: don't look at it from a perspective of what's convenient for you. Look at it from the perspective that what's convenient for the client. And so in that, you look at your processes. That's something that you can do immediate. You can do that today and change how you're emailing. Put an automated message on your email that every time someone emails, it automatically sends them a response that says you respond in 24 hours. That's an easy one, right? That's just a quick automated message change in your inbox. If you don't already have a CRM, research that. What type of CRM can you get that fits within your business budget, right? But then offers the type of processes that you need. Those are some easy things that you can do right now that can help with your customer service, help with the way that you communicate with your clients and make that process smoother.
So, how can small teams deliver these high-end experiences without a massive budget or having to hire?
Absolutely. It's so I would say when you're thinking about your client, you are the experience, you're the expert, right? And so, regardless of what your business is, think about how you can make something unique for a client and something that's lasting, right? It's so I for Confetti Carts, when we were designing the menu, something that we were just discussing earlier, to make the client feel seen and heard, and we use a lot of terminology when we're talking to our clients that it's custom. Our menu is our menu, right? But the questions that we ask, which is free, the questions that we ask make it feel high end and elevate the experience. So when I'm talking to a client, we very rarely close a client via email. We want to get on the phone with them and talk about what's your event like? What's your end goal? Tell me the look and the feel. How do you see Confetti Carts being a part of your event? And so that gets them imagining and thinking and coming up with all these cool things. And then you're able to say, well, let's customize it for that. For
Mhm.
our carts, you can change the umbrella color out to match the aesthetics of the event, right? You can choose the menu. We create a menu for you so that you don't have to do it. In our service, we use things like full service. We take care of everything for you. When you're able to take the pressure off your clients and they're not continuing to do the work, that is a level of high level experience for them. You're making sure that you take care of all the details. So then you're a one stop shop for whatever the industry may be.
Yeah, and I can attest to Confetti Carts being amazing. I've seen you in so many events, and it's always custom to that particular event. And
Oh,
that
thank
customer
you.
service is reflected in the people also that serve the ice cream. So it's always exciting to see Confetti Carts at an event. And it's probably the
Oh, thank
first
you.
vendor that I typically try to pivot into, and there's usually a line, but I I bully my way through.
Bully your way
So
through. Thank
yeah.
you.
Um, so thinking about mindset and growth, what separates businesses that grow through referrals from those that are constantly chasing new clients?
Word of mouth is the best form of marketing and communicating to the masses. And so that referral base is key. And so that may mean that when you're building relationships with other businesses in the city, that you may offer a referral program, right? That it's a win-win for both. Um, or for your clients, like, oh, if you refer someone to us, you get X. Or if you refer someone to us at the next event, you get 10% off, or those sorts of things where you make it a win for everyone, because referrals is a very inexpensive way to build your business. And especially for service-based businesses, because a lot of times for service-based businesses, you do it one time for the client, and it's what I like to call the one and done, right? It's like for Konfetti Carts, we have one time to do that wedding, so we have to do it right. Right? It's like we have one time to do that 5-year-old birthday party, or one time to do that senior graduation party. Presentation is also a part of referral, because we got the presentation right, our customer service was right, our ice cream was delicious. That's now our client is saying, oh, they were great. They're singing your praises at the event. So now their guests are now like, well, I want that, and so it's showing up and showing up in excellence. So then those that you're serving have no problem singing your praises and referring you to the next client. Because as business owner, we're constantly doing the marketing, spending those dollars, spending that time either on social media, our web presence, the Google SEOs, all the things, right, to keep getting those clients in. But the bread and butter is when you have those clients that can refer you.
Yeah, and Izzy and I were talking earlier about, or right before the call, about Reddit and how I
Oh,
use
yes.
Reddit to stalk other locations that I want to go to, see if they were talking
Yes.
about other businesses. And yeah, we trust, well, I don't know, I can't speak for Izzy, but I do trust the Reddit comments about businesses more so than just,
Mhm.
their website. And I make websites, but that's usually where I
Yes.
go to see. I also like certain channels that see if you are overreacting or whatever. But yeah, the those channels on Columbus is what I usually go through.
Yes, you have Reddit, your local Better Business Bureau. They have
Hmm.
a site that's referral based. Your Google reviews.
Yeah.
Those are also ways of referrals, and people read those things,
Yeah.
right? And so
Hmm.
you want to nurture those relationships that you have with your local partners and with your clients, so that those referrals keep coming in.
As we ask all of our podcast guests, how do you market like it's hot?
I don't just tell people. I think when you're saying let's market like it's hot, you don't just tell people that you're great. You show them by the things that you deliver. So some of the things that we were just talking about is that when your service is strong, your clients become your marketing team, right? Your partners become your marketing team, because they're singing your praises. So don't just be good, but be great. Don't just deliver a service, deliver an excellent service. And so for me, that has been how I market. I actually just did a call with a young lady the other day, and she was like, how do you market your business? And really, it's a lot of grassroots. It's going to networking events. It's social media. It's our local things that we're able to do with making relationships with people, but also delivering an excellent service every single time. And we don't want to just be good. We want to be great.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being on our podcast and telling us all about your businesses.
Thank you for having me. This was so fun.
Where can we connect with you? Where can people go to see your different companies? What would you like to promote?
Yeah, so here in Columbus, I would like to share. You can find me, LaZendra, on all social media at LaZendra Danforth. But specifically, if you're wanting a little sweet touch to your event, that signature touch of ice cream at your next event, you can find us Konfetti Carts, and that's confetti with a K. Konfetti Carts with a C, at Konfetti Carts on all social media platforms. And our website is confetticarts.com. So we would love to be a part of your next event.
Awesome. Thank you again. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Market Like It's Hot. If this episode made you rethink how your business shows up after the sale, send it to someone who needs a reality check on their customer experience. You can learn more about LaZendra and book Confetti cards for your next event at confetticards.com or connect with her on Instagram or LinkedIn. And if you want to make sure your marketing actually matches the experience you're delivering, grab a complimentary marketing worksheet at myrebelmarketing.com/checklist. Until next time, stay strategic, stay memorable, and remember, marketing gets them in the door, but the experience is what makes them stay.